Okay, just a second, students. Okay, I'm Thomas Brickner. I'm the instructor. This is Physical Science 1121. This is section 2, the noon section, the afternoon section. I'm recording this. I'll be putting this lecture on YouTube sometime this afternoon, I hope. And usually every day, right after class, I get that done. Here's our outline. We'll go through introductions of everybody and then talk about the syllabus and maybe talk a little bit about Galileo if we have some time. There'll be some homework today. We'll see an intro screen like this pretty much every day, except for exams. Okay, here's my name. It's pronounced Brickner, like bricks. It's a German name. I'm half German, half Spanish. But it's one of these German names that's infinitely misspellable and infinitely mispronounceable. So if you feel like you're going to mispronounce it or misspell it, just go ahead and use Dr. B. That's 100% fine with me. It's traditionally what my students call me. I have a PhD in theoretical astrophysics. And so one of my research areas is black holes and the early universe, the Big Bang Theory, and quantum field theory. And so now we won't be talking about quantum field theory a whole lot in this class, but we may get a chance to talk a little bit about black holes at the end of November or in early December. So I want to introduce the TAs now, and we'll all get to know each other quite well eventually. First one is Darian Fry. Here's her picture, and she is going to be mainly attending the morning lecture. The second TA is Caroline Pittman. Go ahead and stand up, Caroline. She's up here, mighty, mighty Carolyn. And this picture is a picture of Caroline from your SSG. Carolyn was a regular student in this class last year, last fall, and she did really well. She was a leader of a special study group that we set up, and that is her special study group. And you know what the best part about that is? That selfie? They're all smiling. But yet, if you look at that table, look at that. They got everything out there. They got the calculators, they got the phones, markers, notebooks, computer. I mean, they're getting down to business. So that's the way to do it. You know, have fun and get your studying in. And those guys did pretty good on their exams, as I recall. So last semester, Carolyn was, spring semester, we invited her to be a TA, and she's done a great job. So she'll be in this lecture, and sometimes she'll be in the morning lecture as well, from time to time. Leah Rudd is our internet TA, so she's more mysterious, and that's why I let her take this mysterious-looking photograph with the shades. You might see her on exam days and on the final exam, but mostly you'll be talking to her maybe inside web courses, but you probably won't be seeing her that much after this slide. Now, I want to talk about supplemental instruction, and we have an expert from SARC to talk about supplemental instruction, and our SI leader, Maria Spinetti, who is hopefully going to be back here in just a few minutes. Okay, go ahead.
Hi everyone, my name is Katie Wilhelm. I'm a graduate assistant with SARC, the Student Academic Resource Center. Who here is familiar with supplemental instruction? Okay, a few of you. Okay, for those of you who don't know, supplemental instruction are 4 weekly peer-led review sessions that allow you the opportunity to kind of study material from the class, review problems, get ready for the next test. Maria will be your SI leader. She'll be sitting in on the morning lecture, actually, but you'll get to meet her. The SI times have not been set yet, but once we have them set, she'll communicate them with your professor, and then you'll know where to go for them. SI is a really great opportunity. It's a free resource for all of you. Students who attend SI, on average, receive a half a grade to a letter grade higher in the class if they had not attended SI. So it's obviously a very good opportunity, free resource. I highly encourage you to utilize it. Thank you.
Questions?
Yes.
Do you have any questions about supplemental instruction, SI? Raise your hand if you're a freshman. This is your first semester. All right. You guys, you newbie freshmen, get to SI. It's going to really help you. Okay, thanks.
Cool,
Great.
Thanks.
And let's give her a hand. SI, supplemental instruction, I highly recommend it. It will really help you. And as she said, it's usually a letter grade, in this class, a letter grade higher on average for the students that go once or twice a week. And we'll publish the schedule. We won't know the schedule until next week, so we can't publish it today. But I'll have it up on the screen every day to start class, and you'll be able to pencil it into your notebook or whatnot, and it'll work really good. All right? Questions about SI? Oh, Maria, come on down. Here's Maria now, and she's going to be our SI instructor. Maria, do you want to say a word or two?
So I don't know what they just.
She just gave her the basic
Okay.
announcement.
Well, hi, I'm Maria Spinetti. I'll be your SI. I should have my tag here, but I'll be your SI or supplemental instructor leader for this semester. So if you haven't been to SI, I really encourage you to come, even if you're not sure what it is. Just come, see what it is, see if it works for you. I took this class last semester, and it really helped me in getting a good grade. So again, I just encourage you to come. I'll be posting the SI hours sometime maybe next week, and Dr. B will have them. And we will also be having an online session if you can, for some reason, come to any of the sessions, or if it works best for you that way. And I'll be sitting actually in this classroom, this session. So you will see me here in the front. And if you have any questions, just let me know. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Maria. Now, Maria, did you say that you're going to be in the afternoon class
Yeah.
and not the morning class? Okay, so we're going to be seeing Maria every day. And the morning class, she already introduced herself to it. So she's great. She was a great SSG leader, special study group leader last semester, and now she's the SI leader. So great things ahead for you guys. She's going to really help you. She knows most of Dr. B's wily tricks, so she'll help you stay one step ahead, and that'll be good. Let's talk about the syllabus. Maria, could you help hand out the syllabuses again? And Caroline? We have the syllabus handouts. They're just various different colors. They're all the same, though. Give Maria half of that. And just give them out in piles. If you have some on your row left over, hand them back towards the back of the room. And we'll hand it across and then hand them back. Oh, man, you didn't get one. Huh? Oh, okay. Good. And you're squared away. Caroline, just give them out in bunches. Don't count them. Yeah, it's... Come on down. Welcome. Find a seat. If you guys come in late, just find a seat where it's comfortable, and I don't mind. Just don't trip over somebody. Good. Raise your hand if you don't have a handout. Okay. Oh, one back there. Okay. Send your, if you have extras, send them to the aisle. Just hand them over to the aisle. We'll collect them. Thanks, you guys. All right, let's take a look at the syllabus. We'll just kind of go over some of the specs. There's my name up there. TAs Caroline, Darian, and Leah. My office is room 156. It's right by the front, the main door of the Physical Sciences building, which, if you know where the Student Health Services is, and then you keep going to the Counseling Center, and you keep going, there's a shuttle bus stop there. That's right by the Physical Sciences building. So I'm right on the first floor. Our office hours are going to be 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Wednesdays, and I'll be there tomorrow. We'll have office hours tomorrow. Okay? And with office hours, they'll actually be in room 158, which is it's right next door to my office. And it's a little bit bigger. It has a big marker board and stuff. And the way that I work with office hours, it's a drop-in office hours, so you don't have to have an appointment. You just come. And if you can make it for the last 20 minutes, that's fine. If you have to leave after the first 30 minutes, that's fine, no problem. You just come and go, and it's good. It's very, very informal. And the procedure is you bring the agenda. I have plenty of work to do, with grades and uploading and stuff like that. So I'll be doing that until somebody comes. And then when they come, we'll talk about whatever they want, whatever you want to talk about. Okay? So you bring the question, you bring the agenda, and that's what we'll do. And if there's more than one person there, the more the merrier. And Caroline's been to office hours. And in fact, Caroline, do you want to have office hours this semester? Okay. Caroline, did you have some last semester? I had last semester. Okay. So we're thinking about maybe TAs having an office hour once per week as well. But anyways, it's really good. Come and you study, work on a homework problem, or you can't get the textbook to work properly, or, you got to register your iClicker. We'll work it out in office hours. It's very good. So you're more than welcome to do that every Wednesday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. And if you bring your lunch, that's fine. And you might even see me eating my lunch at the same time. Course description, fundamental laws of mechanics, heat, waves, electricity, magnetism, chemical processes and equations, properties of gases, liquid, solid solutions. 3 credit hours. The reason I have this on here, we're supposed to have it on the syllabus, and I had the student evaluations from spring. I read them. I read every single comment, and some of them were, they were ripping me pretty bad. But there was this one student that, I don't know, the student said, I hated this class. I thought it was supposed to be about rocks and atoms. And I thought to myself, well, in the past, I have talked about limestone a little bit, but this is the course. This is the formal course description. So this is a very, very compact outline of what we're going to be talking about. So it might not be rocks and atoms the way that one student was thinking, but so that should be your expectation. So mostly physics and a little bit of chemistry is what it boils down to. And that's the official UCF course description. So all physical science classes, physical science 1121s are supposed to follow that basic plan. Okay, textbook. It is not in paper. It's not a bound book. It's e-book only. All right. And so second edition is what you want to get. And I'll go over the website for that. But there's the ISBN and so forth. And just so you know, I wrote that book for this class specifically. And it may be that after you've been in my class for a few weeks, you'll start recognizing my voice in the textbook. It'll sound like Dr. B in lecture when you read it. So, and that's because I wrote it. Email. No. Do not use conventional email to contact me. The reason for that is conventional email is not considered secure and private. And the federal educational privacy regulations specify that we're not supposed to do that. Did you know that, not too long ago, I was talking to my wife about this the other day, we used to post students' grades, your professor used to post your grades with your social security number. And they tape them, they make a photocopy and tape it to their door of their office. And that was your social security number and your grade for the semester or for a test. And boy, you cannot do that now. They really drill that into you. And you don't want to, publish. You're not even supposed to use social security number for an ID. Some people still try to do it. Anyways, so that's why I don't use email. But web courses messaging, yes. That is considered secure since both ways you're authenticated by UCF. So I can talk to you about your grades or anything else in the messaging system of web courses. So I believe it's called Conversations. Just click your inbox and you'll be able to use it. And by the way, Caroline, Maria is not in yet, but she will be. I'll be adding you. And then Leah and Darian, you'll also be able to message them if you have reason to do that. And in the discussions area of web courses, don't post personal information like phone numbers. And nobody's going to post their social security number. I know that. Hopefully, everybody's smart enough to avoid that. But don't post your personal phone numbers in there. And I'll delete it if I see it. So, and don't type in anything in discussions about your personal grades either. So, let's see. I can't get my cursor over here to the screen. It's just bugging me here. I just can't. I have to. I have this new computer, and I'm still getting used to how to use it in lecture. Anyway, let's keep going here. Instagram, UCF Vision is the username for that. And what we'll be doing is using Instagram from time to time to take a photo of a demonstration that we may be doing in lecture. We'll also try to video it and put that demonstration. So if we have something using bowling balls or, springs or something, and you want to see it, we'll try to video it and Instagram it. And so even online students will be able to be able to observe it. Twitter. Caroline is on Twitter right now. She's going to be tweeting into my service, Brainwave77X, and what she's going to be doing today. Normally, she'll be doing lecture notes, brief lecture notes. Maria will be taking lecture notes, right? So between the two of them, you'll have some support to your own lecture notes. Today she's going to be typing in your questions, if you have any, and my answers, and she'll be doing that live, so you'll be able to follow that during class. So hopefully that'll be helpful for you guys. Final examination, December 10th, 2016, 1 to 3:50 p.m. Now that is a special time. If you look in the registrar's website, they give a different day for classes that meet Tuesday and Thursday at noon. But for us, I have two sections, big gigantic sections like this, back to back. So the first one is at 10:30 to 11:50, and then you guys at noon until 1:20. So we're going to do our final exam at the same time. And it's going to be Saturday, December 10th, from 1 to 3:50. Now, we don't know the location yet. It might be in this classroom, and then one classroom down the hall, like 201 at the other end of the hall. We're trying to get that. We won't know until maybe next week or the week after. But as soon as I do know the location, I will announce it to you, and I'll drill it into your skull. But the date and the time are accurate, and that is what we will do. So make sure you engrave that into your mind so that you do not forget it. Because the final exam, as you know, you cannot evade. It is something you must attend, and you must crush it to the utmost of your ability. Okay, let's keep going here. Homework. Homework is going to be in web courses. And for you newbie freshmen, that's this computer system that we use for managing grades and posting information and for doing homework. It'll mostly be multiple choice, but we'll have some calculations in there, and you'll be typing in numbers. And I'll tell you how, in the problem itself, you'll see how to type in the number, round off to the nearest hundredth or something like that. And it'll work good. And homework is ordinarily due at the beginning of the next lecture. So if I assign a homework normally on a Tuesday, it'll be due on Thursday at noon. Okay, that'll be the deadline. On a Thursday, I might activate a homework, and it will be due on Tuesday the following week for this section at noontime. So normally that's the sequence. And I'm going to I was reading the student evaluations, and some of them made a point, and I think it's a good one, that some of the Tuesday homeworks were really big and they only had a day. And so I'm going to try to make the Tuesday homeworks smaller. And the Thursday homeworks are going to be a little bit bigger. But you'll have the whole weekend to grind them through and whatnot. And that'll be in web courses. Another change that I'm doing is based on student evaluations, a little feedback. I'm going to have a review homework between the Tuesday lecture and the Thursday midterms. So our midterms are always on Thursdays. So the lecture before that is the last lecture that will be on the midterm. And I won't give you a regular homework assignment, but I will give you a review assignment, and that will be due for everyone at 9 a.m., this section and the other section. So you got to get your studying done early on that. And it'll be a little bit bigger, and it'll be a review. Just kind of trot you through your paces to get you ready for each midterm exam. Questions on any of this? Go ahead and raise your hand if you have a question. Yes? The question was, are all the midterms cumulative? Technically, no, they are not. They cover certain chapters in the textbook, but we're not going to stop talking about Newton's three laws of motion. I mean, that's going to be, once we have it, it's a tool, and, we're going to keep using it. So effectively, yes, they will become cumulative. In other words, we're going to be using stuff we learn in August all the way into December. So, another question. Okay, and just so you know, the final exam is definitely cumulative. So, all right, textbook. You can get it in the bookstore. I wager that some of you already have done that. It was very tight, but they got their stuff Friday, as I understand. This website you may find to be, if you haven't gotten it at the UCF bookstore, you might want to try this one. It's probably quite a bit cheaper. Last spring, I haven't checked the prices, but last spring, the publisher's website here was $30 less than the UCF bookstore for the same basic item. So you make the call. And I know some of you have to buy at the bookstore on account of financial aid rules and stuff like that. I would. And just so you know, this is an ebook only. It's not. There's no bound version of it. And the reason, and that was my decision. I wanted a book that would be affordable, but by God, they're still expensive, and I hate it. And I'm trying to figure out a way to publish a book, and you guys won't be able to benefit from it, but hopefully, maybe next year, next fall, this time. I'll have a different way to publish the textbook that's way cheaper than what you, even at the publisher's website. So, but for now, this is what we've got. And, well, the software that they ask you to get, it's called Bookshelf. Has anybody downloaded that yet? Nobody? Bueller? Anybody? No, okay. There's a software that actually manages the book for you called Bookshelf. It's from vitalsource.com. It really works. It's really nice. I like it a lot, actually. So that's a benefit of it. Okay, policies. Let's go through some of these. Golden Rule and the UCF Creed. Yeah, we've got to follow those. And there's something in the UCF, there's something that I feel I want to address with you now at the beginning of the semester that's probably not in Golden Rule or the UCF Creed. And it has to do with something that happens every year, every semester at the end of the semester. If you get to the final exam and you take the final exam and it's on the books, and the final exam is the last thing for your grade, when that's done, everything is done for the semester. If you do that and you're getting, and you're not, and you didn't do well, and you were hoping to get, an A or a B or a C, and you don't have enough points, I feel for you, but do not ask me, after the final or even during exam week, Dr. B, is there anything I can do? I'll do anything to get an A or a B or a C. And for you newbie freshmen, this is probably the first time you've heard it, don't ask a faculty member that, because for him to respond to that would be unethical. Once that final exam is on the books, that's it. And it would be considered, for me, I would consider it a firing offense if I was the department chairman or the president of the university, and I knew a faculty was, responding to a request like that, it's just not ethical. So try to resist the urge to do that. Hopefully all you guys will crush the final and you'll be on cloud nine. Many of you will be. But if this doesn't apply just to me, it applies to every class that you're ever in. Don't ever put the professor in that position because it's unethical. And you guys might, especially you guys that are new, just high school 4 months ago. This is college now. This is a completely different system, and that you might have been able to ask questions like that in high school, but it's not good if you do it here. All right, accommodations. Let me read this verbatim. UCF is committed to providing reasonable accommodations for all persons with disabilities, and I share that same commitment. Students with disabilities who need accommodations must be registered with Student Accessibility Services over in Farrell Commons, Building 7F, Room 185, and the phone numbers are given there. And you have to do that before requesting accommodations from me. Students registered with SAS that need accommodations must initiate contact through SAS and Knights Access. The website is given. No accommodations will be provided until the student has used SAS and Knights Access to request accommodations. Now, if that applies to you, and there's a few students in here I know I've already gotten your professor letters, but if you haven't gotten your paperwork in yet, go ahead and get that rolling, and we'll do it. I mean, it's normal. We do that every semester, and the new system, Knights Access, works really, really good. But if you don't do it, get started with it now, and then by the time the first midterm's rolling around, you'll be ready to go. And we do it every semester, and it works really good. If you want to talk to me about it after class, that's fine. And by the way, we have back-to-back classes. So I have the 10:30 to 11:50 class, and then I have you guys at noon until 1:20. And between classes today was kind of relaxed. I talked to a bunch of students. But normally it's going to be extremely bodacious up here in front. But after class, we can actually go out in the hall and talk things over. Okay. Now, the morning class, I told them I'm usually out in the hallway before class working on my keynote slides and stuff, messing around with homework or whatnot, and they can come up and bug me before class. But for them, after class, for you guys, between classes, before class, not so hot. But after class, definitely is good. So that's kind of like unofficial office hours. You can buttonhole me out in the hallway. And that'll be, I'm usually, unless there's something happening, I'm usually amenable to that. Okay, let's keep going. Mandatory attendance on exams. At UCF, academics comes first. And I cannot overstress that. You're here voluntarily. You have made a decision to come to an institution of learning. Therefore, we have first priority. That comes first. Attendance at exams is mandatory. University excused absences are the following. Okay, religious observances. So for instance, Rosh Hashanah or something like that. Intercollegiate activities in athletics. Okay, so that's like debate team or tennis team or something like that. Military call-ups, so ROTC, reserve, something like that. Get me your orders from your commanding officer. We'll get you squared away. University verified family or medical emergency. Okay, medical emergency means you're in the hospital. Or you're in the ER. Okay. And verified family means death in the family. And the other thing it means is if there's a hurricane that blows through, and that's happened before. Raise your hand if you were here in Florida for in 2004 for Charlie, Francis, and Jeannie. Yeah, see, that's a lot of you. Anybody here from Lake Wales? Because do you remember, you guys got hit by all three. That was the place. It was a shooting gallery over there in Lake Wales. Oh my! And he survived it. Thank God for that. Anyways, that semester, 2004, Charlie blew through UCF and Orlando, and it was the beginning of the semester was rough, and we had a lot of family emergencies. You know, because there was people that had to go down and help their folks down. For Francis or Jeannie, they had to go down to Miami to help their folks, or up to Delta. I had a student, I'll never forget it, in one of my classes that semester. We had a midterm, and we gave the midterm, and there was a lot of absences. And I got a call, later after the class. I'm up in my office, and I get a call. Dr. B, this is, and he mentioned his name. I said, I was trying to get to the midterm. How come you weren't here at the midterm? He said, well, I live up here in Deltona, and my house is surrounded by water. I can't get out. And so I said, all right. And it was true. I mean, if you were around here in Central Florida, it was miserable for that whole 2-3 month period. But short of that, it's going to be death in the family or in the hospital. All right. Now, over there in red with white lettering, these are not legit. Okay, so wedding, nothing I can do about that. That's your thing. It's not my thing. Academics comes first. Plane tickets that your mom got you on Priceline.com is nice. I like Priceline too, but you've got to manage that. That's your responsibility. All right. And here's another one. A job off campus, and you've got to drive all the way to West Orlando, and you can't make it back in time, or something like that. I don't deal with that. You deal with that. You deal with it now. Now, if you miss a lecture, that's all right. We got some leeway to work with. But exams, no way. You've got to be here for those exams, because we don't do makeup exams. And we don't do early exams, and we don't do, hey, Dr. B, can I take the test at 2 o'clock instead of 1 o'clock? No, we don't do any of that. We do the exam schedule. Well, we got 600 and something students, almost 650 students that we're working through. And we got to get everybody through this little narrow gate. So we got to keep it simple and stick to that schedule. So these kind of excuses, no. But if you have, a religious observance or something, yeah, we'll get you squared away with that. Now, here's how we do it if you do miss an exam. Listen to this one. And this is the same. This paragraph is the same for the entire physics department. It is physics department policy that making up missed work will only be permitted for university-sanctioned activities and bona fide medical or family reasons. Authentic, justifying documentation must be provided in every case, and it must be provided in advance for university-sanctioned activities. Okay, so for those of you that are on the debate team or fencing or tennis or football or something like that, and you've got a travel schedule, you're going to be out of town on an exam day, what you want to give me is the program verification sheet or the program verification handout. And your coach or your advisor will give you that. That's the standard thing. And if you're on a team, and if you've been here for a few years, a few semesters, you know what I'm talking about. Just get that to me, and we'll work with you. And you don't have to worry about it if it's just a regular lecture. You don't, I want you here at every lecture, but it's the exams that I really want you here. You can't fool around with exams. All right, let's keep going. At the discretion of the instructor in the physics department, the makeup may take any reasonable and appropriate form, including but not limited to the following: a replacement exam, replacing the missed work with the same score as a later exam, or allowing a dropped exam. Now, I want you to circle this part where it says allowing a dropped exam. And circle that, because that is what we will do. We have 3 midterms on the schedule. And I will keep your best 2 out of 3, and I'll drop your low grade if you take all 3. So you want to, if if you're in the ER, but you can get in a wheelchair and have your friends get you here to class to take it, and your both arms are not in a sling, get in here and take the test, okay, if you can. Because then you'll have 3 exams on the books, and if one of them is stinky, that's the one that we drop. But if you only have 2 of them on the books, and one of them is stinky, you are SOL. You're stuck. You don't have the luxury. So you want to take all 3 midterms. Okay. Now, if you do, I'll say this: 80% of you will be here for all 3 midterms. Okay, and I highly encourage that. But there's going to be some of you, and it can't be avoided. I had some students my first year here at UCF. They were in an accident, and they brought the police report and stuff. And I said, all right. But we still handled theirs in this way. They had an excused absence, and but either way, excused or unexcused, if you miss it, that's going to be your dropped exam. That's how we handle absences. So we don't do makeups. I don't give you the test early. I don't give you the test late. I give you the test here in this lecture hall at noon on Thursdays on the dates on your printout. And that's it. And on December 10th at 1 o'clock. And that's it. If you're not there, you are SOL, which is an old Latin phrase for toast. Okay? That means, in Latin, it means you're toast. All right? So that's how we're going to do it. Now, any questions about that? Is that a question? Or are you just going like this? Okay. All right, let's keep going. Let's take a look at the exam schedule. Here it is. Get this burned into your mind like a laser beam. Midterm exam 1, they're all about in the middle of the month, in the teens. September 15th for exam 1. And it will be here. We'll start it at noon or 12:03 or something, as fast as we can. Okay? And you'll have the full class period for it. There'll be 50 questions, 50 points, and usually that's an hour exam. We'll have 75 minutes for it, so you should be good. Midterm exam 2, October 13th. Midterm exam 3, November 10th, day before Veterans Day. And then final exam on this special date. Now, we don't have the location yet. As I mentioned, it could be this room. It could be over in Classroom Building 1. They might put us in Visual Arts. It just depends. But we'll try to get them, both classes, both lectures sections, fairly as close together as you can so we don't have to run around like the proverbial chicken with its head cut off. Questions about this? Yes. I'll go over that in just a minute. The question was, do we need Scantrons? And the answer to that is yes. We'll go over that in just a second. Okay. Another question? Question? It's a Saturday, yeah. December 10th. No, it's not. It's a Saturday. And the reason that it's a Saturday is that's the UCF free period of exam week. It's always Saturday afternoon until late at night. And that's when they set that up so that faculty can have multiple section finals at the same time. So that's when we're going to do it. So we're not going to be having it on a Tuesday or a Thursday or any other day except this. This is the day. Okay? And I'll give you the location probably in a week or two. which room we're going to get. All right? Another question. By the way, I'm recording this lecture, and so I'll be putting it up onto YouTube a little bit later. You can go through it, stuff. I do that for every lecture. Okay, let's keep going. Exams, what are they like? Everybody's always really super nervous on exam 1. You'll find this course to be challenging, but not impossible. The exams will contain plenty of basic material, so that if you do the normal amount of studying, faithfully come to lecture, and do your homework every time, you will find the exams tough to flunk. You might not, knock it out of the ballpark, but you'll do all right. You won't flunk. But by the same token, even if you go above and beyond the call of duty and attend office hours, discuss homework in web course discussions every week, review all your lectures in YouTube, carefully study all the questions, and I might add, go to SI sessions every time. Go to 4 per week. You will still find my exams tough to ace. You might not find it hard to get a 90%, but to get 100% correct and all the bonus points, yeah, that's going to be challenging. And I make no apologies for it, because tough to ace, tough to flunk is not a bad way to run an airline, as the saying goes. It works out pretty nicely. So that's the way you want to handle it. So you want to crush things like Bruce Lee. That's the guy here in the picture. One of the only guys that ever beat up Chuck Norris and lived to tell about it in a movie back in the 1970s or something like that. But for us, tough to flunk, tough to ace. If you do the normal amount of studying, you're going to survive. You might have a C on a test, but you're not going to flunk it. All right? And if you get a C on a test, you're probably going to be within striking range of a B for the semester grade if you work hard. And I'll explain that in a minute. Because look at this. Here are the things that we get points from which we get points. Exams, homework, class participation, clickers. All right? Midterm exam 1, 50. Midterm exam 2, 50. Midterm exam 3, 50. So it's going to be 50, if it's all multiple choice, which sometimes I do, it'll be 50 questions. If there's 1 or 2 brain burner calculations on there, it might be 48 or 47 questions, but still 50 points. And what we do with the clickers on exam day, we type in the numeric answers for our calculations, and that way I could give a multiple points question for a tough calculation. And if you don't get it correct, I can sometimes give you partial credit based on what you've typed in, even if it is incorrect. I could, like if you forgot a negative sign, or if you forgot to divide by 2 or something like that, I can usually spot that in your numbers. And so with iClicker, I can give you partial credit. Scantron, there's no way to do partial credit. You either get it or you don't. And sometimes we do all Scantron. It just depends what I feel like. I always write a new test, and so it just depends on, what I put on the test, exam 1, exam 2, exam 3. Now, as it says up here, this is the whole thing of dropping. I can't get the thing up there. Best 2 out of 3 scores on midterms. Now, that's going to be 40%. If you think about this, 2 midterms, that's 100. Final exam, that's another 100. Homework and clicking, 25 and 25. So that's a total of 250. All right. Now, that means the 2 midterms that we keep, 100 out of 250, that's 40%. The final, 100 out of 250, that's another 40%. And then homework and clicking together, that's your other 20%, 10% and 10% for each of those. And let me draw your attention. Go ahead and put a circle around classroom participation and homework, because those two are relatively easy to get most of those points. And a lot of you are going to get 25 out of 25 on homework and 25 out of 25 on class participation because you are doing your homework faithfully and you are coming to class faithfully. You're going to rack those points up. It's not free money, but it's relatively easy. Okay? And that is nice because those two, if you get 25 and 25 on those two, that's like getting 50 out of 50 on a midterm. So you take 3 midterms, we drop your stinkiest, and then maybe you have another one that's a little stinky. You get 50 out of 50 homework and clicking. That makes up for a lot of exam disaster. All right? So you definitely want to be here faithfully in class every day and homework every day. Whenever I assign. Some days I don't give you guys homework, but most of the time we do. All right, so emphasize homework and class participation. It's going to be, and you won't know what your grade is until the end of the semester. But I'll try to update and give you an estimate of homework and class participation a couple, 3 times during the semester. So at least going into the final, you know what you have. Questions about this? Go ahead.
Yeah, so are you going to give the test back so we have an opportunity to see the grade?
The question was, am I going to give the test back so that we have an opportunity to see the grade? No, yes. I will not be giving exams back, but I will be allowing you to see your grade, of course. That'll be in web courses, your score. And then what we'll do is give you a printout the standard exam printout based on from your Scantron, and it records every answer that you gave and the key for that question. So out of 50 multiple choice questions, it'll be whatever you answered and then the correct answer, A. And then the next question, whatever you answered and the correct answer, D, or whatever it happens to be. And that'll be for, and then what we'll do is give you a little blurb about each question on the test so you can know, not verbatim, but the general idea of what every question was about. And you can use it to study with for the final. So you won't, but the exception to that is, if you come to office hours, then yes, you can look at the test and take notes at it. You still, in office hours, you cannot take verbatim notes, but you can jot down what the question is about, maybe draw in the diagram again, if it had a diagram, stuff like that. But that's the way we do it. And that's simply because it's just impossible to do, with big classes like this. Another question.
Sorry, follow-up though.
Follow-up question.
I can just make a sheet, and since you do the point system, I can just add up all my points, and then you have a chart right here that says, so I can find out my grade that way.
Yeah, the student asked me, I can make a sheet and just add up all my points and find out my grade that way. The answer to that is YES, yes. And that's why I'm going through this with you right now. I'll go through the grade scale in just a second here. It's in the next 2 slides. And you'll see. And the answer is yes. You can always figure out what your grade is or estimate where you are. At the end of the semester, it'll be based on 250. But like if we're halfway through, it'll be 2 midterms and homework and clicking. But you can still make an estimate. So, all right, procedures for exams. Here we go. Each examination, you have to bring a number 2 pencil and a good eraser. So a good eraser is not the one at the end of your pencil. It's like one of those little pink rectangular jobs you had from 3rd grade. Those are the best. For Scantron forms, because the pencils, if you've never noticed it, you try to erase a dot that you did incorrectly, and it wears a hole in the Scantron, and then you're even deeper, because there's a hole, a big, or it smears it even worse. So get one of those little pink rectangular jobs and you'll be good. UCF Scantron, the raspberry colored one, it has a UCF Pegasus logo on it. So that's different from the ones that the School of Business uses. They use kind of brownish ones. And we use the Scantrons that are raspberry flavored. And also bring your iClicker too. Now you got to have good batteries in this. And for those of you that just bought it, I highly recommend that you ditch the batteries that you've got in there because they're El Cheapo batteries. They're going to flake out on you in the middle of the exam, and you're going to be up a creek without a you-know-what. All right? And so put in some Energizers or Duracells. You'll be good to go for the rest of the semester. You may use a basic scientific calculator like a TI-30X-IIS. I don't know why they need so many letters, but anyways, that's what they do. Anything with a square root key ought to be sufficient. Now, I was at the UCF bookstore the other day looking over the textbooks and stuff. And man, they had bindles. They had thousands, it looked like thousands, maybe even millions of calculators in there for you guys, 15 bucks. You know, TI calculator. That's good. If you have a graphing calculator, yeah, you can use it. Anything with a square root. But you can't use your cell phone. That's number 4 here. No cell phones are allowed, so no cell phone calculators. If you forget your calculator, it just means you're going to have to do some long division like in 5th grade. You'll survive. And there's not going to be like an enormous flurry of calculations. There's going to be, you know, maybe 2 or 3. Some of them easy, some of them tough. But it's not going to slow you down humongously. So you can do a little scratch paper activity. Number 5, final exam is cumulative, mandatory, and cannot be dropped. So the exams that are dropped are one of the 3 midterms, if you take 3. Okay? And that's going to be most of you. And it's going to feel really nice. After the 3rd midterm, so we're talking November, just before Thanksgiving, and we'll know then, as soon as exam 3 is graded, we'll know which your best 3 is, or your best 2 out of 3. And then you'll be, wow, that really did my grade a lot of good. You know, and plus homework will be coming in, so you'll be looking good, you know. Number 6, you're well advised to make sure your schedule is clear on Saturday, December 10th, until supper time or so. You know, we go from 1 to 3:50. Do not schedule airline tickets, cruises, or work at your job off campus until well after 4 p.m. I have first priority on your time until 3:50 p.m. And I never budge. So you're going to be, so get ahead of the curve and talk to if you work off campus over at, you know, Big Ear's place over there in Southwest Orlando, tell your BOSS you need the time off on December 10th, because we're going to do it. If you're not there, that's tough. Frijoles. You know, so just tell them your instructor is an SOB, a son of a Brickner. And hopefully, just get it done. They'll work with you. Just tell them you got a schedule and it's tough. There's no makeups. Zip zap. And they'll square you away. All right, grade scale. Yeah, so at the end of the semester, this is where the pointage levels are. All right, now midway through the semester, you can go by percentage, but you can't go by points. Okay, so we've got 225 or more. That's 90% of the 250. If you have 225 points, ding, you have an A for the semester. And if I give out a ton of A's, if you guys just take me to the cleaners on exams and stuff, and you're blazing, I'll give it to you. You know, faculty that grade on the curve, I hate it for a lot of reasons. And one reason is, if you grade on the curve, there's only a certain number of A's that you can give out. Did you know that? You can't curve it, use a curve, and give out as many A's as you want. But I want to give out A's, and if you earn them, you get them. I'm not going to curve them away from you guys. I hate curves. And because I want everybody in here to break the curve. I want to break it apart. And the way that you break it apart is by using this thing, this big blob of gray cells up there between your earlobes. Right? That's how you do it. If you do it, you get it. You earn it, you get it. I take nothing away. And I'll tell you this. I want you to listen carefully. If some of you are in here and thinking to yourself, I got to take this class. I'm just really worried. My major, I got to, I suck. I stink at science. I'm afraid, or I'm really afraid of science or math. And I hear you. And we're going to try to work through carefully, and so that everybody in here, somebody that feels like that, and the people that don't feel like that, we're going to work with all of you. And I'll just tell you this. There are some of you in here right now. You are in that second category. Man, I've never been good at science. But that ends today. I never know who it's going to be. It could be you. Right. With a white shirt. It could be you over there with the light blue shirt. Yeah. Or this gent over in the right. I never know who it's going to be, but I know it's going to be somebody. And by the end of the semester, I'll know. And it's not just going to be one guy. It's going to be a bunch of yous. And you're going to find, I can't guarantee it, except I know it's going to work. I never know. I can't predict it. I don't know how to predict it. But you're going to find, whoa, I'm getting good at science. And that's why if you earn an A, you're going to get it. I'm not taking an A away from anybody. And man, I tell you, and this is one of the reasons I love to teach, is I love seeing those guys that come from the back of the pack. Like in the Olympics. And they blaze up through the front. And they win the gold medal. That's the student. That gives me a thrill. Better than the Olympics every 4 years. I see it every semester. All right, let's look at this grade scale. B, 75%. All right, technically that's 177.5. So we go up to 178. All right. Because at the end of the semester, I don't round off. You either have points or you don't. And so you got to go up to 178. All right. So it's actually technically, 75.1 or something. I don't know. C, 60%. That's 150 points. D, that's half the points, 125. Now, if you earn some bonus points, that goes in here too. It doesn't change it doesn't change the denominator. The denominator is always 250. That's the baseline at the end of the semester. So if you get 90% of 250, whether it's exams, homework, or a few bonus points thrown in there, you get it. That's it. 225, you got it. F, below 125. You guys, there's not going to be many of you in here. Have you ever heard this story? In med school, the first year of med school, or the first day of organic chemistry class. The professor says, look to your left, look to the right, and by Christmas, one of those two people will be home. They'll be dropped out of college or med school. Did you ever hear that story? You've heard that. No, you haven't heard that? Yeah, it's like an urban legend. I've never had a class like that. That's not the case in this class. Very, very few Fs. Very few Ds. And mainly because A, homework and clicking. Most people do a good job on that. And B, tough to flunk, tough to ace. That brings people along pretty nicely. And even though not everybody gets an A, there sure is not a lot of Fs. And the way to get an F is to skip class and bag homework for a week or two every semester. I do give out Fs, but it bugs me. I hate it because I think, oh man. And it's so that I look and I see that, oh man, they didn't really do any homework. They missed a bunch of exams. You know, they didn't click much. They weren't here to click. And that's why I say, if you click faithfully, you come to class faithfully, and you do the homework, ordinary amount of studying, you're probably not going to fail. Right? And so I don't really give out a lot of Fs. And I give out some Ds, but not a whole lot of those either. Right? Now, raise your hand if you have your iClicker. Anybody got their iClicker? Okay, we're going to do an iClicker. Go ahead and turn it on. And I have an iClicker question. Let's see. Let me start. All right. So the clicker. Okay. So what you want? Let me see if I can get this out there. All right. So here's the clicker. Who typed in an answer? 5 of you typed it. Dude, you don't even know the question yet. Oh yeah, it's a Chuck Norris question. Let me get my. Now here's your Chuck Norris question. Let me get this thing out of the way so you can start answering. Dude, let me get. Oh man, you can't even. Okay, the first one says. I can't get over to. Dude. I'm not. Oh man, this is. Usually clicking goes a little bit better than this. It's my new computer. This is only the second lecture I've used it with. All right, for those of you that have a clicker, you want to be on frequency AA, all right? And I guarantee you're going to get the right answer here. But to get onto frequency AA, if you're not on there, if it doesn't say ready, then hold down the power button until the square flashes, and then type in the letters AA, and you'll be on the frequency. And then you'll have a little check mark, and then it'll say ready, and then you can vote. And I'm going to be bold and vote for C. All right? And once you vote on a multiple choice question like this, you just click the letter and it automatically sends, right? You don't have to hit the send key. So obviously, I can't get, my cursor is, I can't get it over there to change the position of the, this is burning my grits. I got to get my cursor fixed. Anyways, so I can't even stop the question. Everybody's going to get the correct answer now. Anyways, normally it'll work a little bit more gracefully in lecture. But just so you know, we're going to do the official day for registering your iClicker in web courses is going to be the Tuesday after Labor Day. Right, so you have a couple weeks to get one and register it in web courses. But we'll do some practice questions like a Chuck Norris question or maybe some easy physics stuff between now and Labor Day. If you have a roommate that has an iClicker, you can borrow it. If they don't need it Tuesday and Thursday from noon to 1:30, you can borrow it and register it in web courses, no problem. If you already have one, you don't have to buy anything. You just got to register it. We're not done yet. Or we're almost done, but we're not done. Even though my Chuck Norris question is all messed up. But for your homework, I want you to get your iClicker and try to get it registered. We're going to finish the syllabus on Thursday and then get some observations in about hydrogen. And we're going to talk about the introduction in the e-textbook. So we're going to talk about Galileo and motion. So get the e-textbook, read the intro for Thursday as much as you can, if possible, and get your clicker. And there's a very easy assignment in web courses for attendance. So get that done. And I'll see you on Thursday. You're dismissed. And I'm now...
What courses yet, though?
Huh?
Because, like, I looked on Canvas a minute ago, the one for